Welcome to Truth Report, where we peel back the layers of the headlines to expose the underlying currents shaping our world. I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Tonight, we investigate seemingly disparate stories, from geopolitical tensions in the South China Sea to the shifting landscape of electric vehicle markets.
At first glance, these narratives might appear disconnected from the pressing global issue of human migration. But as we've learned time and again, the threads of power, economy, and conflict are intricately woven into the fabric of human movement.
We'll uncover how the calculated moves of nations and corporations can create ripple effects, impacting livelihoods, exacerbating inequalities, and ultimately, driving people from their homes. Tonight, we connect the dots between policy, profit, and the profound human experience of migration.
Stay with us as we delve into the deeper implications, revealing how seemingly distant events are, in fact, integral pieces of the complex puzzle of global immigration.
Our first story takes us to the volatile waters of the South China Sea, where the Philippines is sending a deliberate signal to Beijing. According to reporting from the South China Morning Post, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has promoted Coast Guard officer J. Tariella.
This isn't just a routine promotion. Tariella is one of the government's most outspoken maritime voices, a figure Beijing had specifically called to be sanctioned. Marcos's decision, analysts say, is a clear doubling down on a strategy of public exposure of China's actions in the disputed waters.
This escalation is more than just a diplomatic spat. It has profound implications for regional stability and the lives of millions. The South China Sea is a critical maritime corridor, rich in fishing grounds and potential oil and gas reserves. For the communities bordering these waters, their very existence is tied to its resources.
Exactly, Maya. When we talk about disputed territories, we're not just discussing lines on a map. We're talking about the traditional fishing grounds that sustain entire families and villages. Disruptions here, through harassment or outright conflict, directly threaten the livelihoods of fisherfolk, forcing many to consider internal displacement or cross-border migration.
The promotion of someone like Tariella, who advocates for transparency and calls out Beijing's assertive tactics, signals a hardening stance. This could mean increased confrontations at sea, potentially leading to skirmishes that can dislodge vulnerable coastal populations. We've seen this pattern globally, where resource disputes fuel conflict, which in turn fuels migration.
And the context is crucial. The Philippines, a nation with a significant number of its citizens working abroad as migrants, understands the fragility of economic stability. Any conflict or sustained disruption to fishing and trade routes exacerbates economic pressures at home, potentially increasing the flow of economic migrants seeking stability elsewhere.
Who benefits from this deliberate signal? Primarily, the Philippines aims to assert its sovereignty and protect its economic zones, which is a legitimate national interest. The promotion strengthens their negotiating position and galvanizes international support against Beijing's expansionist claims.
But who loses? The immediate losers are often the local communities, particularly the fisherfolk who face daily risks from foreign Coast Guard vessels. Their ability to earn a living is compromised, turning them into economic refugees in their own country, if not forcing them to seek opportunities abroad.
The geopolitical chessboard has direct human consequences. When nations play high-stakes games over resources and territory, it's the ordinary citizens who bear the brunt. Their homes become precarious, their livelihoods unsustainable, and their future uncertain, all classic drivers of both internal and international migration.
This isn't just about territorial integrity, it's about the very economic and social stability of the region. A destabilized South China Sea could trigger waves of displaced persons, creating new humanitarian challenges and adding to the already complex global tapestry of migration.
The broader power structures at play here are immense. We're witnessing a contest between a rising superpower and smaller nations asserting their rights under international law. The United States and its allies often weigh in, further complicating the dynamics and raising the stakes for all involved.
And this contest directly impacts the regional labor force. If traditional industries like fishing are disrupted, the workforce has to adapt. Without adequate social safety nets, this often translates to outmigration, as individuals seek stability and income in other countries, sometimes under precarious conditions.
The promotion of J. Tariella serves as a stark reminder that even seemingly isolated geopolitical moves have a cascading effect, reaching far beyond diplomatic circles and directly influencing the forces that compel human migration. It's a clear message to Beijing, but also a silent warning to vulnerable communities.
The ongoing militarization and assertive posturing in these waters signify a broader erosion of peaceful coexistence, transforming ancestral fishing grounds into potential flashpoints and turning self-sufficient communities into populations at risk of displacement. Turning now to a completely different sector, but one with equally profound implications for economic stability and, by extension, migration patterns, the automotive industry. Maya, you've been looking into the new Subaru Uncharted EV.
That's right, Alex. CleanTechnica reports on 2 video reviews of the Subaru Uncharted EV. The article suggests this new model is a significant improvement over its predecessor, the Subaru Solterra, primarily due to its extended range of about 308 miles and a more competitive price point.
An electric vehicle, cleaner energy, new technology. On the surface, this sounds like progress. But what are the deeper ripples in the economic pond, especially concerning labor and potential migration?
The transition to electric vehicles, while crucial for climate action, is fundamentally restructuring the global auto industry. We're talking about massive shifts in manufacturing processes, supply chains, and the types of jobs available. The Uncharted EV, along with other new models, symbolizes this technological upheaval.
And this upheaval isn't without its human cost. Traditional internal combustion engine manufacturing, which has sustained communities for decades, is being phased out. This means job displacement for skilled workers who may not have the training or opportunity to transition to EV production.
Absolutely. Reporting on this shift often overlooks the workers left behind. When a major industry undergoes such a radical transformation, it can lead to significant localized unemployment. For those unable to retrain or relocate, migration, either internal or international, becomes a stark necessity in search of new livelihoods.
We're seeing a pattern of economic migration driven by technological advancement. The uncharted future for these vehicles mirrors the uncharted futures for many workers. The promise of green jobs is often concentrated in new hubs, requiring people to uproot their lives and move.
Who benefits from the Subaru Uncharted EV? Subaru as a company, certainly, by expanding its market share in the growing EV sector. Consumers seeking an eco-friendlier option with better range and price also benefit. It's a win for climate goals, too, reducing carbon emissions.
But who loses? Potentially, the communities heavily invested in the older manufacturing ecosystems. The ripple effect extends to parts suppliers, repair shops, and even local economies that rely on the stable employment provided by conventional auto plants. When those jobs disappear, entire towns can suffer.
And this economic disruption creates vulnerable populations. Without robust government retraining programs, social safety nets, or relocation assistance, these displaced workers are pushed into precarious situations. Their choices often narrow to unemployment or migration, sometimes across borders, to find work in other manufacturing sectors or lower-skilled jobs.
The broader power structures at play here involve multinational corporations dictating the pace and direction of industrial change. Governments, often eager to attract green investments, may not adequately plan for the social impact on existing workforces, leaving individual workers to navigate these massive transitions alone.
This isn't just about one car, it's about the global push towards decarbonization, which, while necessary, must be managed with a deep understanding of its human cost. Unmanaged transitions can exacerbate existing inequalities and create new categories of economic migrants, seeking stability in an increasingly volatile job market.
The allure of new, cleaner technology like the Subaru Uncharted EV should not blind us to the foundational shifts in labor and demographics that such advancements trigger. It highlights a critical need for policies that protect workers during economic transitions, preventing mass displacement and the resulting pressures on migration systems.
Every new EV on the road represents not just a step towards a greener future, but also a complex recalculation of labor needs and economic geography. Without thoughtful planning, this progress can inadvertently contribute to social disruption and the necessity for forced economic migration. Our next story delves into the more controversial end of the EV spectrum, highlighting corporate tactics that directly impact consumer access and economic fairness. Electrek reports that Tesla has increased the price of the Cybertruck AWD by a staggering 17%.
A jump from $59,990 to $69,990, just 10 days after its introduction. Electrek describes this as one of the most cynical new trim introductions in the history of the auto industry: launch at a low price, create artificial urgency. This is corporate profiteering, plain and simple.
This is a textbook example of leveraging hype and scarcity. Tesla, a dominant force in the EV market, is actively manipulating demand and pricing, making a cutting-edge product less accessible. This behavior has broader implications for economic equity and the ability of ordinary people to access new technologies.
Indeed. While a Cybertruck might seem a luxury item, this pricing strategy by a market leader sets a dangerous precedent. It signals that companies can dictate terms, exploit desire, and effectively gatekeep access to new technologies, even those that promise future sustainability or efficiency.
And when we connect this to immigration, we must consider the economic pressures on working-class families and individuals. Such rapid, Unjustified price hikes contribute to the overall rising cost of living and the feeling that economic opportunities are being manipulated for corporate gain.
Who benefits from this move? Undoubtedly, Tesla and its shareholders. The company rakes in higher profits by capitalizing on demand and creating an exclusive, high-value image for the Cybertruck. It strengthens their market position and perception of desirability.
Who loses? The consumers who were initially enticed by the lower price point, now priced out. More broadly, anyone struggling with economic precarity loses when large corporations engage in such manipulative practices. It erodes trust and exacerbates the wealth gap.
This kind of corporate behavior, creating artificial barriers to new technology, contributes to systemic economic inequality. When the benefits of progress are disproportionately hoarded by a few, it puts immense pressure on those at the lower end of the economic spectrum.
For some, this mounting economic pressure can directly influence migration decisions. If the cost of living skyrockets, if access to essential or even aspirational goods becomes prohibitive, families may feel compelled to seek economic refuge in regions or countries where their earnings might stretch further.
The power structure at play here is corporate dominance, unchecked by meaningful regulation. Tesla's actions demonstrate a company's ability to exert immense control over market dynamics, impacting not just pricing, but also consumer behavior and broader economic stability.
And this isn't isolated to Tesla. We see patterns of artificial scarcity and price manipulation across various industries. This contributes to a global economic environment where wealth concentrates at the top, while a significant portion of the population faces increasing precarity, often leading to a search for better economic opportunities elsewhere.
The Cybertruck price hike, while seemingly a niche story, is a microcosm of a larger systemic issue: how corporate power can shape our economic realities, influencing everything from daily commutes to the foundational decisions about where and how people can afford to live, and ultimately, whether they need to migrate.
It's a chilling reminder that in an increasingly interconnected global economy, the decisions made in corporate boardrooms about pricing and market strategy have tangible, human consequences, contributing to the very economic drivers that compel people to leave their homes.
Maya, we've covered a wide range tonight: geopolitical tensions in the South China Sea, the technological shift in the EV market exemplified by Subaru, and the aggressive corporate pricing strategies of Tesla. At first glance, these seem like separate worlds.
But when we pull back, a clear pattern emerges. Each story, in its own way, illuminates the forces that contribute to human displacement and migration. Whether it's the threat of conflict, the disruption of traditional industries, or the exacerbation of economic inequality, these are all profound drivers.
The South China Sea dispute, with its potential for resource conflict and disruption of livelihoods, highlights how geopolitical power struggles directly threaten regional stability, pushing vulnerable communities towards potential migration. It's a classic conflict-to-migration pipeline.
And the EV market's rapid evolution, as seen with the Subaru Uncharted, represents a significant economic restructuring. While innovation is essential, it must be managed thoughtfully. Without foresight, this shift displaces workers, creating a new class of economic migrants seeking opportunities in a transforming global labor landscape.
Then we have Tesla's Cybertruck pricing, a stark example of corporate power unchecked. Such tactics widen the wealth gap, making new technologies inaccessible and contributing to a sense of economic precarity that can force families to consider migration as a survival strategy.
What unites these narratives is the impact of powerful entities, nations and corporations, making decisions that ripple through societies, creating conditions where people's homes, jobs, and economic stability are undermined. These are not isolated incidents, they are symptomatic of systemic pressures on human populations.
The deeper implication is that global migration isn't just about borders, it's about the intricate interplay of geopolitics, technology, and corporate ethics. Every decision, every conflict, every market manipulation contributes to the complex, often heartbreaking, calculus of why people move.
Tonight's investigation reveals that the causes of migration are deeply embedded in the very structures of our global economy and political landscape. It demands a more holistic understanding of human movement, beyond simple labels.
From the South China Sea to the showrooms of electric vehicles, the truth is clear: the decisions made by the powerful, whether in government or corporate boardrooms, have direct and often devastating consequences for ordinary people, influencing their ability to stay or their necessity to leave.
We must scrutinize these power structures and demand accountability. Only by understanding the true drivers of migration can we begin to address the root causes and work towards a more equitable and stable future for all.
Thank you for joining us on Truth Report. We'll continue to expose the uncomfortable truths shaping our world. I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity.